Hey.
Jeremy Rogoff, Jordan Roberts, turn around. Poitical Beats about to interview the Chancellor. Let's do it big.
Mr. Chancellor, thank you very much for coming on Political Beats, by far our biggest guest. We're about to ending our tenure, so we're very happy to have you on.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you.
All right, great. So, kicking off the interview, two co-hosts, Jeremy Rogoff, Jordan Roberts, were actually the two people that organized the senior trip to Chicago. And obviously there was a lot of aftermath with that. Can you just talk a little bit about what we as a student body can take away from that, and also how it reflected on the school as a whole?
Well, first, thanks for organizing the trip. I hope everybody had a great time. Obviously, it was newsworthy, at least as I see it. The group behaved extraordinarily well, and I'm very proud of the senior class. I believe that what you could say in terms of a learning experience is that you've encountered what people know, and that is that racism still exists in our country. And I believe that the response of the senior class was really terrific. I think you demonstrated, from what I understand, a degree of creativity to demonstrate clearly that this was absolutely a case of racism and discrimination. And I'm proud of how the student body reacted to adversity, which is always something that's going to come up in life. Of course, there are going to be good times, but there are going to be challenging times. So I think the senior class did well, as I expect they will throughout life. And I think for Washington University, this turned out to be a very newsworthy, positive event that reflects extraordinarily well on the class as well as the university. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I'm going to move to a few questions regarding, I guess, community relations. Recently we had, the University in St. Louis, in my opinion, had a great victory with Prop A. The university really got behind it, and I think that they were glad that students were in the same vein. Are there any local issues coming up that you feel like the university or the students should really kind of support or get more motivated behind, and kind of do the same kind of organized action that we saw a few weeks ago?
Proposition A was a very big victory for the region. Obviously, Washington University students and employees have a big stake in public transit, but so too does every institution and every person in the region. The victory on April 6th does show what education can do. Just to recount a bit of history, in the fall of 2008, at the time of the presidential election, there was a campaign to introduce a similar sales tax to support public transit. But it failed, despite, very positive efforts. But in anticipation of the critical need to have this proposition pass in this time frame, we set about to educate as many people as we could, to engage as many people as we could, and Washington University students did a terrific job for us, helping us enormously make the case. And after losing by a very small margin in November of 2008, we turned it around completely, and a victory, 63% voting in favor, 37 against. In this day and age, a tax being passed with that margin reveals the effectiveness of the education campaign. Now you ask, what about other issues? It's rare that the university will take such a proactive position on any issue. We generally are not so directly affected by a political issue that we will take a position. As a not-for-profit, tax-exempt organization, we can take a position on a political issue. We cannot support political candidates. Some people wonder why we could, as a tax-exempt organization, do this, but it's permitted as a tax-exempt organization that we take a position on political issues, and we did. And we did so because we felt that public transit is of vital interest to the university and to our region, and therefore to the success of this institution. We took a public position on a constitutional amendment here in Missouri to permit stem cell research to the extent that it would be permitted by the federal government. And that statewide ballot initiative passed. We were very fortunate. But we also took a public position on a statewide initiative to increase the tax on tobacco products. And from our vantage point, unfortunately, that tax initiative failed. There may be other issues that arise in the future, and we will consider them on a case-by-case basis as to whether we should mobilize our institution by mobilizing and apply resources, human and financial, encourage people to review the issue and to become educated about it. And doubtless in the future there will be things of that sort. At the moment, I don't see that on the immediate horizon, but there are issues that doubtless will affect the lives of our students, and I hope that through the success we've had with Proposition A, that students will see that people can make a difference. And clearly, it was to me, clearly, it was the education about the importance of public transit that changed the vote from a narrow loss to an overwhelming victory at the polls.
Absolutely. And then just one, for me, one final question. So I'm sure you're aware there's been a little bit of a discord between students living between the university in the Loop area, the residents there, and the U City Police Department. Do you know if the university or Washington University Police Department is doing anything to facilitate some further conversation so both sides are kind of happy with the outcome?
Well, neighbors near the university are interested in what we do, and in general, the people who live near the university have chosen to do so. The university is on this site over 100 years old. This campus was envisioned by Robert Brookings around the time frame of 1895, before the World's Fair. And Brookings Hall was dedicated in 1903. Most of the houses, most of the residential areas, therefore, around this campus are younger. And so people who come to this region know that they're going to live near a university. That means they expect to encounter young people, and as the community ages, they will know that they're dealing with a population materially younger, because we renew our population frequently. And in recent years, unfortunately, some of our near neighbors have had difficult experiences, and it seemed to the neighbors that there was not proper attention on our part, Washington University's part, to manage the behavior of our students. Well, I don't know whether you recall it, but when you were introduced to the university, you hopefully have heard a speech from me that said something to the effect that, we should be respectful of one another, and that includes people who are our neighbors. And some of our neighbors felt that we were being disrespectful. And they take a view that the institution should be able to control its students. And when they felt they weren't getting the response that they wanted, they took this to their local police. We are in discussions, both through our police department and through our professionals who develop our relationships with the local governments. We have been in discussions that I hope will prove fruitful. I think students have been very respectful of the process that can lead to resolution of the problems they see. And at the same time, the students need to also respect the neighbors' interest in having a good community in which to live. By and large, the community celebrates the presence of Washington University. They're proud to live nearby. They take advantage of public lectures, they jog around our campus, they go to our athletic events. It's a real opportunity, and we also invest heavily in the community. Many of our students volunteer in public schools and do things with and for our community that are directly beneficial and very important. But unfortunately, we've also had incidents where students, at least in the eyes of our neighbors, have misbehaved in ways that led to, I guess, a sharper attention on the part of the University City Police Force.